Welcome to Talking Balearics. This is Martin Makepeace, and I'd like to wish all our listeners a very happy Christmas, because this is the Christmas edition, isn't it, Richie?
It most certainly is, young Martin. Merry Christmas to all our listeners.
Hey, mate.
You all right?
I'm all right, mate. I'm very well, thank you, Richie. How are you? I saw you had drinks with Judge Jules and Amanda. Was it last night, the day before?
We had dinner. We had dinner last night, actually. Very nice at Can Pedro, which is a lovely restaurant up in Genova. It was lovely to see them. They're here for just a couple of days. They're going back, I think, tonight, actually. So, yeah. And, just,
I can guess what the conversation was, mate.
Football, mate. Arsenal, all the way.
Well, obviously, you're two massive gooners, so I can imagine the conversation was one-way traffic. I mean, Amanda's a gooner as well, isn't she? She's pretty.
And Phoebe, their daughter, is a massive Arsenal fan as well. So yeah, although me and Jules were talking about EDM music and where my next gig is and everything else. So all that going down.
Well, mate, we all know that you're an EDM aficionado, aren't you? So. Rich, do you even know what it means, EDM or?
Well, Martin, listen, I just received a message from Universe. I don't know what they're ringing me for, but anyway, let me check that, and I'll put that in the new pod.
Do they need a cheesy MC then, mate? In that case, it's not 1991.
I'm your man. I'm your man.
Richard, this is our Christmas edition of Talking Balearics. What have you got for us this week?
Well, I'm talking about a new train service that could be a big break for Mallorca, and particularly travelling Mallorca, I think, which would be a good one. Also, now I know everybody bets on there being a White Christmas, but nobody bet on a White Christmas in Mallorca because it's a possibility. I'll tell you about that very shortly. Also,
I saw that.
I don't know if you've seen, obviously, yesterday, December the 22nd, obviously, this is Christmas Eve today. December the 22nd was the big lottery draw here, the big Christmas lottery. And a few people here in Mallorca did get, not the big prize, but they did get a little bit of a prize, which is I'll tell you about too. And we'll finish on a bit of football, of course. Mark, what you got?
Yeah, we like a bit of football. Listen, I've just got two things today, Rich, because... it's Christmas edition. I want to talk a little bit about Christmas, but on the current affairs front, I've got big news about mortgages. I'm a property guy, as you know, so I'm talking about mortgages. There's big news on that front, and also housing is always a hot potato, isn't it? So we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, something that I've talked about a lot, the Parador, Rich. It's back in the news again, and it's not great news, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
So we'll talk a bit about the Parador as well, okay?
Well, listen, the government has opened the deadline for interested companies to submit bids for the first contracts for the future of the railway line linking Palma and Llucmajor. The tender has a budget of nearly €6 million and forms part of the IES de Transformación, which I think that's how you pronounce it, investment plans promoted by the regional administration, which will also basically link Palma to Palma Airport, which is could be a bit of a game changer, actually, I think, for here.
Well, I think your public transport over there is superb already, Rich. So I think this will just add to it, won't it?
Well, definitely. I mean, we're talking about, they reckon the government's sort of guesswork is that the line is expected to carry 8.5 million passengers a year.
Wow.
So it will be a link, the expansion of the rail network, journey times of 30 minutes from Palma to Llucmajor, 12 minutes from Palma to the airport, and 18 minutes from Llucmajor to the airport are anticipated. So, I think, there's a bus service, a very good bus service from the airport that runs into Palma, but also runs to the other parts of the island as well. But obviously there's the taxi service and the normal pickup service as well. So the coaches I'm talking about, etc. But this, if you add the rail network in, then things are only obviously going to get busier. I can see that. Do you know what I mean? But what it might mean is it might be less congestion on the roads, hopefully, which would be a good thing.
When I go to Benidorm, Rich, so I get off the ferry in Denia. I don't know have you ever done the ferry in Denia, Rich?
No.
So you get off the ferry in Denia, and there's probably a 10-minute walk to the train station. There's a superb train that goes from Denia all the way to Benidorm. It's probably 10, 12 years old, and it's a game changer, Rich, because it just connects everywhere as well. and maybe, just maybe, this might do the same for Palma and Mallorca. I mean, something that we're not blessed with in Ibiza, obviously, we don't have a train system, although I wish we would, because it'd be a no-brainer, or a tram system. I mean, I've got to say that the
tram system makes sense. Definitely.
It does, Rich. And also, I've got to say that public transport in Ibiza is, the one word I would probably use is abysmal. It really is. It's really poor. And it means that there's a necessity for taxis. And as you know yourself, taxis can be hit or miss, can't they? Especially in peak season. So the fact that you're getting a really good train system in Mallorca just annoys me and irritates me even more, because obviously the cards are stacked in your favour in Mallorca again, aren't they? So, it's isn't it another example of Mallorca getting the lot and the other islands not getting anything at all? You tell me that, Rich.
Well, Mark, the busier you are, the more you're going to need, as we say. And you're right. Listen, I don't think Ibiza needs a train system. I think a tram system would be a very good idea for your area, particularly maybe from the airport, just to sort of smooth out the roads as well. Because as you know as well as I do, yes, there is a problem with taxis, but then there's also a problem with congestion with all the taxis that are there running, particularly between June and September. So, I would definitely support a tram system. So let's see what you got.
Oh, I met a guy at the cricket last week, because obviously I was in Australia at the cricket. I was in Adelaide.
No one would know, would they?
No, not at all. I don't like posting on social media.
No.
And I've got to say, Adelaide, it's not the most exciting city in the world. I've got to tell you that. But it was an interesting experience. But I was with a guy who, he's responsible for town planning. So his thing that he does responsible town planning. And he was saying to me that realistically, they plan 10 or 15 years in advance when they look for town planning. And I just thought, that's what we need in Ibiza, someone who plans for 15 years in advance. Because let me take, for example, Rich, the scooters. Now, the electric scooters, which everyone's using these days. I presume my son used to have one. Both my sons had one. I don't know if your son had one at all. I don't know.
We've got one. Doesn't get used much, I'll be honest, but we got one.
Yeah, but the fact that you've got one just shows an example that most households have got one. In Ibiza, there's no contingency for these scooters. So the scooters end up either going on the road or on the pavement. They go the wrong way around the road. I've spoken about it before. And I just think we need some urban planning. And it goes into the trains, the scooters, the cars, the taxis. It all gets lumped into one, Rich. And I just think we need to think about the future. And I think we have to have a massive overhaul of public transport and the transport system in general, because things are moving very quick, Rich. And I don't think the islands are capable of coping. Well, sorry, not the islands. Ibiza especially is not capable of coping.
Well, now working in Palma, I can see obviously everywhere you go, there are cycle and scooter lanes everywhere.
Yeah.
And obviously in Calvia, we do have a lot of cycling and scooter pathways as well, because that's been in for quite a few years. So yeah, forward planning, I think, for that obviously has turned in good fruition, really, to be honest with you. And I'd agree with you.
I must just say, Rich, sorry, Ibiza Town had a big works going on last year, and they've got now cycle lanes with their own traffic lights and everything. So they're fully prepared. But San Antonio, San Jose, which is my neck of the woods, mate, very, very poor. And we mentioned about 2 weeks ago, I think, when we talk about the Calidaboo, which is San Antonio Bay, or San Jose as it is, the local business people are up in arms, because there's just no forward plan there at all, Rich. And it's a really important part of the tourism model of Ibiza, and it doesn't seem to be forward planning. So, good point there, Rich. And train services, I'm all for. Someone did tell me that trains are very expensive to put down. Train tracks are very expensive to put down, but I think the payoff is immense for you guys there in Mallorca. Mortgages, Rich, you've got a mortgage, haven't you? I've got a mortgage.
I do.
We've all got mortgages, haven't we? Big news in Ibiza, the mortgage take up, people getting mortgages, is at the highest now since 2007. Yeah. Now, 2007 was the boom. Remember the big boom where basically you used to get a mortgage on the back of a fag packet in those days? You could get what you want. Banks would give you anything. Everybody was crying out for your business. Just come through today. The average mortgage in Ibiza now, Rich, go on, have a guess. What do you think the average mortgage is? But this is going to make your toes curl, mate. So the average mortgage in Ibiza is how much?
How much you're borrowing?
Yes, exactly. The mortgage on a house. So when you buy a house, so if you think in the UK, I think the average house price is what, 250 grand, 300 grand probably. Let's compare that to Ibiza. The average mortgage in Ibiza is now
750.
432,000 euros. It's
really?
mad, isn't it? I mean, it just shows you about the house prices. I mean, the good news is there's more take up. There's a building boom. There's more. I think since the PP have come back in, they've been a bit more proactive with the building. There's a building boom. People are getting mortgages. The banks are more open to give mortgages. There's new products for kids as well that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. So it's positive. There's growth happening out there, Rich. There's a lot of growth. And I was talking about to somebody the other day. I still think the property market in the Balearics has got a lot of way to go. I think, we wince at the prices, but I actually genuinely believe there's a lot of growth still to go. I don't think we've even got to the tip of the iceberg yet. I think we're at the bottom or whatever. I think in 3 or 4 years' time, it's a bit like central London these days, Rich. You buy on the way and you think it's expensive, but when you sell on the way out, it was actually quite cheap. So I think even though 432,000 sounds a lot of money, I still think there's a lot of growth in the property market in Ibiza and also Mallorca. So watch this space.
Well, obviously, people like to bet on a white Christmas in the UK. The people out there might be surprised to know, or people that are not in Mallorca. Well, first of all, the temperature has definitely dropped here. Over the weekend, there was quite a lot of rain over the weekend. I don't know if it's the same in Ibiza, but the temperature has definitely dropped. You can feel it's a lot cooler now. We're talking roughly around 12 degrees, which, I know it's not as cold as England, but for us, that's cold. Yeah. And a low of around 5, something like that. But we had snow falling on the mountains on Monday around 1,400, which is the highest peak, the Puig Mayor here in Mallorca, down to 1,100 meters, and expected to drop down to 900 meters in the next day or so. So snow is falling all around us. Hey?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to break the song, Richie.
Yeah. No.
On a quick one, Rich, because you're a cheesy radio DJ. What's your most played Christmas song this week, mate?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, know what the Christmas number one is, don't you? It's Kylie Minogue is the Christmas number one.
I saw that, yeah. XMAS, isn't it? Yeah.
XMAS is one of the worst songs I've ever heard, to be honest with you. Well, Mark, I mean, to be honest with you, since I don't know if you know this, but sadly, Chris Rea passed away yesterday.
Saw that, yeah.
So obviously, Driving Home for Christmas has been playing today quite a lot, actually, to be perfectly honest. And actually, in fact, if you go to my Facebook page, there's a very good story on why or how he wrote Driving Home for Christmas. It's quite an interesting story, actually, to be honest with you. And
are you punching your Facebook page there, Rich?
I am, yeah. Facebook.com/Richard Pryor. But
your 14 followers will enjoy that, Rich, to be fair.
Exactly. Well, at least it keeps a few people happy. Mark, if I am playing Christmas, it's got to be Bublé for me. Boobs, as we call him. Boobs at Christmas is definitely the one.
You like it? You like a bit of Mickey Bubble, don't you?
Boobs, mate. He's the man. Boobs is the man.
Did you see in the news today that Mariah Carey earns $3 million a year from All I Want for Christmas Is You? Do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, it used to be, if you remember years ago, Slade was always the band that Noddy Holder used to earn $500,000 every year. Do you know what I mean? And Mariah Carey's behind it. But since the age of streaming, of course, where obviously they don't get as much as they used to get from the single sales, but obviously that song gets played everywhere you go. And yes, I do know that she's definitely the queen of Christmas songs. Definitely Mariah.
All right, just before we go on this one, mate, because it's a Christmas edition, what's your favourite ever Christmas song?
No, I actually do like Let It Snow, whether that's sung by either Dean Martin or Michael Bublé, to be honest with you. That would be mine.
You're a bit of an old crooner anyway, aren't you?
All right, calm down. What's he saying? Just because you're going for your Botox and it's cheap in Australia, you're trying to make yourself look younger. So what is yours?
It's harsh, Rich. That is, mate. That's harsh.
Yeah, but true, as we know.
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm not denying it, am I? You know something, because I was, 14 when it first came out, and I think that was my glory year. So it's got to be Do They Know It's Christmas by Band Aid, I think, even now. And if you watch the documentary, I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or Amazon, if you watch that documentary, for those of a certain age, I think you're in the same age bracket as me these days, Rich. So I think that was a game changer for Christmas. But also, when my mum was a massive Johnny Mathis fan, by the way.
Oh, so,
yeah. Yeah, my mum was Johnny Mathis, and most of our audience will go, who? So when a child is born, it was always on in our house at Christmas. So there you go.
Well, that was just so you know, Mark. Obviously, that Band Aid was the Christmas number one in 1984. That was the song that kept. That was the song that kept Wham off the number one, because it was going to be Wham last Christmas. 39 years later, in 2023, Wham got to number one, and obviously what was last year's number one as well in 2024 was going to do the three-peat, as they call it, until Kylie came along with XMAS, which is, I mean, it's rubbish to say the least. You know,
well, it just shows
all our Australian listeners. Apologies.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's come very close to Australians these days, Rich, as you know. No, but I listen. XMAS. It just shows you the poor state of the charts these days, doesn't it? So
exactly.
Parador, Rich.
Yeah, please tell me.
Well, I think I blogged about it this time last year and saying we can't wait for Parador to open in April. I blogged about it and said we can't wait for it to open in July. Then maybe I blogged about it again and said we can't wait to open in September. And guess what?
It's still not open.
Still not open. I mean, I try not to be too critical because I think they want to get it right. But come on, this is 25 years, by the way. It's a quarter of a century in the making. And it came into the news today, local press. The mayor says he's very excited about the opening of the Parador. Yeah, we are, by the way. We're all very excited. We have been for the last 10 years. And he reckons it's going to happen the first trimester of 2026. So, I mean, it's probably a year later than they promised. They put a lift in, and they think it's going to regenerate the area. Also, very interesting about this Parador, Rich, and as I said, I think we probably touched on it before. It's actually a museum as well, so it's not just a Parador; it's a museum. So people can go in and look at some artifacts of Ibiza. So, I mean, I think they'll do it properly, but you know. They've just got to get it open, Rich. I mean, it's ridiculous now. I mean, as I said, the crane's not there anymore, Rich, which is good. I mean, it was been there for more than a decade. But I think people are just getting a little bit peeved with it now. And it's going to be the most expensive Parador in the whole of Spain. Surprise, surprise. And did we ever guess that? Expensive in Ibiza. But I think they've just got to get on with it. And they have had some challenges. I recognise that point. There's parking. There was drainage issues. They've had to put a lift in, and I think they've sexed it up a lot. I know that's a bit of a Marmite way to look at it, but I think they've sexed it up a lot. So I think it's going to be a wow when it's open, but it needs to open.
Well, yesterday, 22nd, is the big lottery day here here in Spain. Basically, covers the whole of Spain. El Gordo, as it's known. And
Rich, don't talk about yourself like that, mate.
Hey, and Mallorca celebrated third prize in the Christmas lottery worth €500,000. It was won apparently in Puerto Alcudia, in Consell, in the middle of the island, and Calador as well. And each 10th. So basically, what they do is they sell the same number in strips of 10, basically. So you can buy all 10 if you wish, or you just buy one, and then you'll get a 10th of what the winning number is. The winning number, the third place winning number, was 90693, and each 10th receives €50,000. Nice little little egg at the for Christmas, isn't it? To be honest with you.
Well, I was explaining to a friend of mine today, saying that Spanish lottery is very different to every other lottery in the world because it's designed for many people to win many prizes. That's the whole point. They like to spread the money, don't they? Whereas Euro Millions or the Powerball or the lottery, national lottery in the UK, is designed for one person to win one big prize. So the Spanish lottery is unique, really. And I mean, they draw it out a little bit, don't they? Or they drag it out a bit, should I say? Because
they have the kids singing the numbers, don't they? That's what it is.
Is it 3 hours? 3 hours the draw as well. So I think
something like that.
You know, it's almost a national treasure. And I use those
every bar
words
and cafe,
very lightly because you just want to know who's won it. Whereas the national lottery is all over in about 5 minutes. Whereas the Spanish lottery takes about 3 hours. But anyone who's won out there, congratulations! My 4 lottery tickets, I never won a single penny this year, mate, which I'm most upset about.
Well, if you walk down any high street in Palma or wherever, all you'll hear is that those singing numbers coming out. All the cafes and bars have got it on because obviously everybody's hoping that they're going to get themselves a nice little thing. So it's very big here. And then obviously we do the El Nino, which is the one on the 6th of January. Which is the one after Reyes Magos as well, Reyes Magos as they say. So, are you still with us, Mark?
You've gone silent, Rich.
Oh, have I? Sorry. Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Has the internet gone off, love?
Is that no, we're on. You're back on now. You're back on now.
Don't know what happened there.
You're back on. Listen, to all our listeners there, I'm sorry about that. Richie went up and got a cup of tea for himself, I think. So, have you got? Listen, let's finish off the Christmas edition with some football. Rich, come on, far away. Well, I saw your lad a great result, didn't he, the other day?
Yeah, they won 4-3 against Alcudia in La Liga Nacional. So we've got a break now, as you know, a Christmas break here in Spain. It goes on just 2 weeks for La Liga. The next game in La Liga is on the 4th of January. The next game for my son is the 11th of January. Atletico Balearics for my son on the 11th of January, which will be a big one. But from Mallorca's point of view, they drew 1-1 with Valencia on Friday night, just gone, which means they're now in 18th place. So not 18th, sorry, 13th place, having played 17 games. So we are just under halfway through the season, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, the jury's out, really. Mallorca's still only 3 points away from relegation. But as it's so tight, you could 5 points away from 7th place. So, it's quite tight in La Liga this year. Quite a lot of teams sort of battling it out because they're quite the norm. Barcelona top, 4 points clear of Real Madrid in second, Atletico Madrid third, and Villarreal fourth. Then there's Espanyol and Betis in the Europa League places, and then there's quite a gap down to Celta Vigo, and then the rest as we go down, and then Girona, Oviedo, and Levante are the teams in relegation at this particular moment in time.
I mean, we say it every time, but it's so important that the Balearic Islands have a top tier team, isn't it, Rich? It really is.
Totally. Yeah. It's for the youth football particularly because it's a way of them, getting themselves through the ladder and into professional football. So yeah, it's very, very important.
Great, Rich. Listen, I really enjoyed it, mate. As always, like to wish you and your family a big happy Christmas, and
likewise to you and yours, Mark.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate. And I will speak to you next week with our end of year review, Rich. That's the big one next year. We're going to do
the end of year review. Blimey, we got to do some homework.
Well, you're gonna have to look at a few links about an hour before the show is normal, Rich, if that's okay with you, mate. So, all right, mate. Listen, have a great Christmas, mate. Regards to everybody, and I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to all our listeners as well. Of course, a Happy New Year. Keep downloading the pod for us. We are obviously doing this because we think we're providing information that is useful to everybody out there, and or not useful. You just want to listen to us banter on about nothing for half an hour. It's fantastic. As a lot of people say, it takes us off our running that we're doing or our cycling that we're doing. I say, oh, thanks. Anyway, at least we're providing a service. But Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Fantastic, Rich. I couldn't agree with you more, mate. Listen, all the best, pal. I'll speak to you soon.
Take care.